When I was born in Hannibal, it was because my father was basketball coach, head basketball coach at Hannibal High School. He came to Nichols, played basketball and baseball, met my mother from Houma. They moved back to Missouri for him to become a head high school basketball coach. He was there for 5 years. My sister was born in Hannibal, so was I. I was in 1969 when I was born. You know, it's funny, my dad preached more discipline than direction, you know, because basically everything I did was always with discipline. I'd scored 24 points, but he wanted to talk about the 5 turnovers I had, you know, which is okay for me because I was always really hard on myself. I was always tough on myself. I was always a perfectionist. He always let me know that, hey, Scott, life's not easy. Just because, you know, you score 33 points and your team loses, that's not a good night. It's better to score 2 points and your team wins. So, but basketball was my first love. You know, honestly, I tell people I played baseball just to get back to basketball season. I wanted to go to Nichols and play basketball, you know, and they offered me half a scholarship, and so did Coach Knight. And I pondered over it, and I couldn't take both. I had to pick one. You know, if I played basketball, I had to take the basketball scholarship. If I took the baseball scholarship, I couldn't play basketball. My dad told me at one point, he's like, Scott, if you want a full scholarship at Nichols for basketball, you need to go start visiting other schools. They know you're not going anywhere else. I said, but Dad, I really don't want to go anywhere else. Mike Knight started recruiting me, and I was his bat boy at 12 years old. So I mean, he wasn't really recruiting me. He was just talking to me more than anything. And he said, Scott, you know, I think if you really focus on baseball and I know you love basketball, I know it's your heart, that's your passion, but if you give it up, I think you can make some money at it one day. I hate to lose at anything in life. I made a decision probably kind of selfishly, thinking that, you know, I'm gonna go play for a winner. Not saying the basketball team that wasn't, and I'm not saying they weren't a winner, but perennial every year baseball was winning, you know. And so I felt as like, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it, you know. And then I got there, then he talked me out of hitting and playing shortstop, and he said, I want you to focus on pitching. I said, I wasn't too excited about it, but I did it, and thank God I did. The rest is history. That year, you know, I started off kind of known, and then I really shot up the boards. I mean, I went from literally, you know, somebody who, or what they call maybe somebody rising, to literally maybe a top 15 pick, you know. And I got to be close with a few scouts, and one of them was actually the one who drafted me, Kevin Towers. You know, obviously Kevin called me on draft day and, you know, said, you know, that he got me in the draft and how excited he was. And I was, honestly, I was more tickled pink to go to him and to the Padres because of him, because he was the one scout that I really got tight with. So the best thing about Kevin was also my pitching coach. The first place I went was Spokane, Washington. So when I went up there, you know, I got there and he said, hey, you're pitching Saturday. I said, okay, cool. So I threw a bullpen on Thursday. And he says, what do you do the day before? I said, I throw another bullpen. He says, you what? I said, I throw another bullpen. He said, the day before you pitch? I said, yeah. He says, are you serious? I said, yeah. You know what I mean? So I threw a bullpen. He said, let's go. So I threw a little bullpen, and then I pitched, and I threw like 6 scoreless innings. And then we talked after the game. He said, that stuff doesn't happen in pro ball, you know. I was like, okay, well, tell me. You tell me. So he sat down. He said, you know, you pitch, you take a day off, you throw a bullpen, you take 2 more days off, and you pitch. I said, so I can't throw off the mound every day? He says, you can't throw off the mound every day, Scott. We play too much. I said, okay, that's fine. You know, by far the Padres is number one, because, like, you know, I tell people all the time, that's your home. And I was there for 6 years. You know what I mean? I got traded to the Mariners. It was okay there, but honestly, the Cubs would be my second choice. I mean, just because of the history. We didn't have a very good year there, but I love the manager, Jim Mergelman. He's one of my favorite people in the world. You know what I mean? Great man, great manager, loves his players, would do anything for him, you know. Obviously Wrigley Field, we came out last place, which is typical for the Cubs, you know what I mean? But just that, Wrigley Field, the surroundings, that was probably my second favorite. I've been knowing Theo Epstein since he was 18 years old. Jason McLeod is number 3 man. I've been knowing him since he was 21. So I had some skin in the game. You know what I mean? I was happy for not only for those 2 guys, but for the city of Chicago, for the Cubs, for, you know, people who say the curse would never be broken. You know what I mean? And honestly, the way they won it, you know, with Indians coming back and them still winning it, it was a great storyline. I wanted some stability in my kids' lives when it comes to grandparents. I mean, because obviously my mother and father are 2 of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. And I wanted my kids to be involved. So when I moved back, my number one goal was to get them here in a nice community with a ton of as much love as possible, you know, and obviously as they bring. But, you know, Scotty Modis is in pre-med, you know, doing well at Southeastern. You know, honestly, he's my most disciplined and focused and sometimes too hard on himself. Cameron's my wild card. He's at Northwest Florida pitching, you know, tearing it up. He's up to 96 miles an hour, 170 pounds. Jimmy soaking wet. And honestly, he's a spitting image of me. And I had a lot. He has a lot of me in him. You know what I mean? Which in the long run will be good. Sign to LSU next year. You know, so everybody's looking forward to that in the area. I hear everywhere I go. It's like, can't wait to see Cam next year. You know, so I'm excited about that. My daughter Lindsay, she's gonna hopefully definitely go play softball somewhere. She doesn't know yet. She's probably gonna go to junior college route, which is I'm really excited about because she, once again, like me, she's not in love with school, you know, so she's gonna hopefully go to junior college. And then my little guy Jaden, you know, he wants to be a doctor like his older. So I got two really good students in the sandwich between two like me who didn't really care too much about school. They kind of always kind of filtered to baseball because that's kind of what they grew up. They grew up in a professional clubhouse. You know what I mean? At 3 years old, they would pull on my pants, say, let's go to the park, Dad. You know what I mean? And we'd take them to the park and we go hit some, you know, and then they go back home, get dressed, and come back to the game. So it's like, you know, it's always in their blood. I'm kind of tough on my kids when it comes to discipline too. You know, I learned a lot from my father, and when people meet my father, he's very quiet, very soft-spoken. But when he means business, he means business. And when he tells me something, I know, okay, that was my dream, was to play basketball and baseball at Nichols because of my dad. You know what I mean? He was always my hero. You know what I mean? I idolized guys, you know what I mean? But he was my hero, you know? God was great to me. God gave me a gift to throw a baseball, you know, at times 99 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour. Some days it was 88, you know what I mean? Think about how many people can be in this seat right now doing this. It's tons and tons. And I'm one of the lucky ones who have, you know, and I'm so appreciative, you know, because this area, they take you in, they embrace you.